Good afternoon.
What's your name, madam?
My name is Alyce Gullattee, and
what is your occupation?
I'm a physician. I'm a psychiatrist.
Psychiatrist?
Yes.
That's very interesting. I know that you work, or you have been around east of the river in that area and working with people in that area.
Yes.
And I'm very curious to know how the connection to the earth and people's awareness of the earth and their spiritualities affects their mental and physical and spiritual.
Well, if one were to take a look at what the earth means to us as human beings, most people are extremely friendly with the earth. Not only because that was probably the jobs that they had when they first came in this country as slaves, but because we've always been a people who grew our own food. I can remember saying to my grandmother, you know, I'd really like some corn. She said, go out in the yard and pick it and bring it back. And so we thought that everybody had a farm, or at least had a garden, if they were not in a farm area. Simply because the earth is that important to us. Not only did we come forth from it according to the scriptures and Bibles, but we also have to depend upon it in order for us to be able to survive.
And so people that are divorced from and may be landless or have lost a connection through living in the city, or just because maybe in their families that planting and putting your hands in the earth has not been part of their psyche, how do you feel that that impacts them mentally? Since you are a psychiatrist, how do you equate those things?
Well, I think one has to consider what the earth is. The earth is the only thing that has absolute color in it. Earth that is without color is without foliage. And therefore, people sort of see it as being dirty, as being nasty, as being something that is not going to be of any value for you, because everybody says if you get dirt on you, wash it off, or that's not clean. And so cleanliness and those kinds of things are associated with the lack of color. And so earth per se, since it does not lack color, has something that would be psychologically negative in the mind of kids. Even parents reinforce that notion. Go in there and wash that dirt off of you. The children see not washing dirt away, they see taking the color of whatever it is there away. And in some way they associate that as well. So if you were to talk to children about it, and you did it in age spaces, you would find that the older you get, the more loyal you are to the earth where you are, and the more protective you become thereof, so that it can be maintained as it should have been and it should be, in order for us as a people on the earth to be able to survive. Now, the other thing that we talk about that is earthless might be water. And the water has in it, of course, fish. And so you think of fish in terms of what it is that you might want to eat, but then there are fish that are absolutely black, that people say, oh, I don't know whether or not I want that, because they only see the outside surface and they don't see the goodness of what's inside of it. See? And that's true then of what we end up thinking about the whole phenomenon of color.
Yes. And so with children, excuse me, how do you, we did an Anacostia River cleanup not too long ago, and it seems like a lot of people that live near the river have no real regard for it, and we dug out so much trash from the river. How do you impart to children and to adults the importance of maintaining the river and its purity and its health, and how that impacts them health-wise?
Well, you see, children and others see the river as being another place for waste, simply because they see it being used by government, by almost anyone and everybody. Just throw it over in the water. For some reason, they figure that because water is in motion, that it'll take whatever it has gathered and it'll move away from where it is. That's not necessarily true if it sinks to the bottom, and then it creates another problem there. You see? Now, one good thing about the earth and the problem thereof, I remember that President Washington gave his people received 40 acres and a mule. So they had their farm on Monticello. The government said, we don't want any niggers having a farm permanently and owning something on Monticello. So they said, okay, then what we will do is we will move them across the river. And there was a place, Mr. Berry had a lot of land right there on the Potomac. We will move it across the river, and we can just call it Berry Farms, and the people can be there. Well, they gave the land for them. It was not a substitute for 40 acres and a mule, and they never registered that the land belonged to them. So down in Ward 8, you have the Berry Farms there, with people still living there, particularly now. They will soon be gone because most of them are in my age group now.
And how old is that, if I may ask?
Oh, I'm 87.
Oh my.
So that they will not fully appreciate even the whole aspect of how others see that which constitutes not only your possession, but your ability to use it, and where it is, and then they can then tell you what to do. Now, what they don't understand is that the very people with whom they speak are an admixture of everybody, because Africans came to this landmass when it was filled with the people who had, I guess, ownership on it, and mixed with them so that they were here realistically as they should be, and it belonged to them. Now, if they really want to see what the admixtures look like, they should go to some place like Benin in Africa. Because in Benin, because it was on the upcountry, on the mountaintop, all of the colonizers who came over ended up getting something wrong with them by boulders sending down on them. But the thing about Benin is you go see them, the children come running down to you, their skin is as black as this, their eyes are blue, and their hair is blonde.
Wow.
And it doesn't have any tincture in it, it doesn't have anything at all, that's just the way it is. And you will see them with blue eyes, green eyes, gray eyes, hazel-colored eyes, with blonde hair, with red hair, with brown hair, brownish red, etc., etc. And it's all God-given. So the earth becomes, once again to get back to, becomes the most important aspect of what is usual and customary for individuals to worship, because it means that if you have the earth and the earth is yours, you can do whatever it is that you wish to do with it in order to support what it is that will keep you living, keep you happy, and keep you in possession of something forever.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful. Thank you.